Have you ever seen a piece of media that you can feel the sheer effort and passion the guys who made it oozing out of it? Because that's a feeling that is just magical. It emanates so much passion for the medium, and that's why I love Girls Band Cry. Hello everyone, welcome to the Weeb Initiative. I'm your host, the Weeb. This is the show where every other week I'll be talking about anime, manga, and everything in between. This week, following our idol theme, even though this is not really an idol anime, I'll be talking about I think one of the newest animes I will be talking about this season, as of time of recording, Girls Band Cry. Really emotional, really inspired, so awesome anime made by Toei Animation. So before I start, some disclaimers. Not a spoiler alert. I think that for the people that want to watch it, and I urge you to watch it, this is better if I don't actually explain much of it. I will just give some introductions to the characters and some of the concepts, but at the same time, I'll not be talking about the whole story and the things that happen in the anime. Second thing is, even though I love this, I think the ending was kind of mid, but that's just my opinion. That being said, spoiler alert as always, because if you want to really go fully blind, just get off this episode, go watch it. I think it's available, if not on all streaming services, most of it. So go there and watch it. I urge you, please watch it. It's really good, and works like this need to be recognized. So with that being said, let's get to the stats. So Girls Band Cry is an original anime directed by Kazuo Sakai, produced by Tadashi Hirayama, written by Hanada Juki, and animated by Toei Animation. The original run was from April 2024 to June 2024. It has 13 episodes, no extras, no movies, and till the date of recording, no announced second season or a continuation of any kind. With that being said, let's get to the story. So, Girls Band Cry is a really inspired tale of 5 girls coming together with their own circumstances and ideals, struggles, and wishes, forming a impromptu band, let's say, and trying to push out this creative vision. And the one linchpin, the one thing that holds this all up is our main protagonist, the one that's presented from the get-go, Iseri Nina, who is, oh my god, she's so fun to watch. So just to give a quick situation spec, let's say, so Nina comes from more of a countryside of Japan to go to Tokyo to basically chase her dreams, even though from the get-go it's not really chasing her dreams. It's more we get this really from the get-go that she is really set on her ways, and so she has her own vision and stuff, and so on and so forth. And throughout the whole anime, we have this developing narrative that the choices that she did to reach the point she is to not only to prove to others that her choices and vision about something is right, but also to prove to herself that her choices are right. So there is already from the very beginning desire to not only to be approved by her family and eventual friends, but also to prove to herself that she is capable of actually making choices and being a responsible and dependable person. We see from the first scenes that she's actually lost in a big city because it's the first time she ever came to Tokyo, and throughout the whole thing she gets lost, has to walk around a lot to actually get to places, and ends up missing timing on getting her keys from an agency that actually got her apartment, and so on and so forth. The whole thing really sets up the theme and the feeling that she is embarking on a journey alone, and that compounds the fact that in the very first scene, really, she is seen on the phone arguing with her family about the fact that she missed her time and so on and so forth. And to that point, she starts wandering about in the middle of the night in Tokyo, and by chance she meets our second main protagonist, Kawaragi Momoka, who is basically her idol. She's a member of a band that Nina actually loves, and through a really quick conversation and a lot of stuff, we get basically our first insert song of the whole anime, which really really slaps. And this is the tangent. I will talk more about this a bit later, but quick tangent. I think all, if not most of, like 90% of the episodes have at the very least one insert song. All the songs in this anime hover around the oh my god, this is so great stuff. The songs are really well performed. I will not debate on the taste, really, because it ends up being that most of this is rock, which is not idol, and there's this whole thing that comes up later about idols versus rock bands and so on and so forth. But the thing is, the soundtrack for this anime fucking slaps. Every single one of them is really nice, really, really good. So much so that the albums for this anime are actually the one thing that they are pushing forward, because the main girls, are actually voiced by people that had auctions. So basically, what I'm trying to say, that they basically build up the band in real life to then actually do the anime, and the girls from the band actually are the voice actresses for the characters. And at the very least, from what I could research, this is the first time they actually ever did VA work on anime, and basically that's fucking amazing. Their performance, and this is me here, okay, their performance is on par with most of the professionals we have out there, because nowadays we have such a high bar for voice work that mostly you can't really say when it's great, but when it's bad, you know it. And for their first time actually working on professional anime, at the very least, I don't know if they have some background or something, they actually did a really huge job. The one, I will talk more about this later, but still, tangent aside, right? So we get to actually meet Momoka, and the first question, and the one question that actually gets Nina actually interested in actually knowing more of Momoka in a personal level, is that Momoka admits that she's not with her band anymore, her original band that made the song that Nina loves, the band being Diamond Dust, and the whole thing kind of unravels from there. So they have this deep connection with their frustrations on life and stuff, emotions, that teenager angst. This anime, it carries a lot of that teenager high school angst, and in some cases it may as well be a bit overdrawn, overplayed, but I think that for what this show shows from the characters and actually wants to actually present to the audience, I think it is a great plot, not device, but a plot point that really pushes forward the narrative. So the whole thing kind of works out in a way that Nina actually gets to meet Momoka, and through their interactions and so on and so forth, Nina actually gets to see that Momoka is not as successful as she would expect, as someone who actually published music, or at the very least released a CD and got to be on shows and so on and so forth. And she gets kind of this one question, that why did you choose to leave the band? And from then on, the whole thing kind of works in a way that they eventually will get together and actually form a band. So from the very first time that they sing together in the first episode, Nina is presented as the main vocalist for what would eventually become the band, because her voice is actually really good. And then Momoka is this guitar player that's the main guitar, and the whole thing kind of works out in a way. The next character that appears is one of Momoka's friends that actually lives in Tokyo from the very start. She's also a high school student, but she's working with basically becoming an actress because there is a circumstance on her family that basically pushed her to become an actress even though she doesn't want to. She's Awa Subaru, and then we have her whole backstory. And in introducing Subaru, we have our second side of Nina that is actually shown to the audience, that Nina actually has a really hard time socializing with people her own age or even people in general, because at the same time that she's really shy at the very start, she really has a hard time talking to people and so on and so forth. She's actually really abrasive when she feels threatened, let's say. And it becomes a whole thing where she has to overcome her complex of actually having to basically learn to interact with people after she had a traumatic experience in the past. And the whole thing kind of becomes a kind of therapy, let's say. And one of the main things also is that as things go on, Momoka says that Nina reflects how she was originally when she moved to Tokyo. So Momoka sees her younger self in Nina, and so she actually knows how Nina will act for the most part. In a lot of instances, she will just like wait it out, and you see that she will come back, and she actually comes back, and so on and so forth. The whole thing kind of plays out in such a fluid way. It's really interesting to see how much they can actually get this chemistry going with the characters. And from this point on, when Subaru actually gets through to Nina and they actually become kind of friends, it's when they actually want to form the band. And from this point on, we get some kind of development between the three of them to present more of the first trio, and then we get the introduction of our two last girls in let's say a more combined way. They are really presented together, and from I think episode 6 forward, they kind of form a tentative group to actually push forward this whole story, more or less. So basically we have 6 episodes more or less of actually forming the band, and then we have 6 episodes of the band as a whole and doing band stuff. So we have the introduction of Ebizuka Tomo and Rupa. Rupa doesn't actually is shown to have a surname, so I don't know, but they are... It's really strange because they actually explain their relationship later, but they are not actually related by anything really, because basically Tomo, for one reason or another, she met Rupa and they actually tried to form a band some time ago, but the band didn't actually go anywhere, and so the whole thing kind of crumbled down. But Rupa and Tomo stuck together and they live together for whatever reason. That is the very, very basic, very glossed over setting that this show actually presents, and I don't want to actually go into much detail on the story because again, I want people to watch it and appreciate it for what it is. And so now I will just like ramble for another 15 minutes or whatever. So the first thing that I want to note here, and this is the thing that at the very start I kind of got off the hype train, but easily didn't, is that this show is mostly in 3D CGI. So... and now I have to actually address this, I think, for my own sake. This is the best 3D CGI anime I ever watched, because in a way, and I will defend this point till my death, I think for this one anime, the stylistic choice was to actually do it in 3D CG, because this one anime has a really strong and really defined art direction. The girls... all the things are mostly rendered in 3D CG, but in specific instances when there is a need for something really different from the normal stuff to actually symbolize something different happening, some people will be rendered as 2D normal anime stuff, normal animation, and sometimes there are scenes that the girls are on 2D, and 2D effect that some of the scenes in 3D are actually really well done, so much so that some specific frames you would be hard pressed to say that it is normal animation, normal anime 2D animation, even though it isn't. And in the other side, there are comedic gags that they do that having this 3D environment really helps elevate. So in a way, I will say that this is the best 3D CGI anime I ever watched, because it actually uses the strong part of the 3D to its advantage and not as a crutch to actually get cheaper animation. I think it was a stylistic choice, and it shows really strong direction, really strong artistic and creative use of the medium rather than actually to do it as something to cheap out. That being said, it is 3D CG, and to the effect too, whenever they are actually, and I can't confirm this, okay, I think it is because it feels way too fluid to actually be otherwise. I think that for the scenes where they actually play the instruments, from Nina's movement on the stage as the vocalist, Momoka's guitar, Subaru's drums, Rupa's bass, and especially I think in the opening you can actually feel this really strongly. Tomo's keyboard, it is, I think, mocapped, which is unheard of from what I gather in any 3D CG anime, so it feels way too fluid to actually be normal animation with models and stuff. I actually really think they did mocap the girls actually playing their instruments, because it is way too nice and way too synced with the sound, which in a way it's really nice. It actually shows the commitment and the production value they put in, the effort they put in to actually do this thing really well, oh my god, I can't really describe it well, but the thing is, you can feel how much they actually worked on this thing, and the animation joins up with this art style that whenever they actually do the 2D stuff, it actually looks like the same thing, it feels one in the same, and it feels so nice. The character designs are really nice. The whole set design is really nice. It feels, and this is a bit of my opinion really, this in a way, and I've talked to the guys on the Discord when we were watching this felt really close to the feeling that you have when you first start watching the Idolmaster, specifically both the original and Cinderella Girls, because it feels that way that you are being setting into Tokyo, specifically in this case, but you are being transported to Japan. It shows those vistas, that background work where you can actually see the whole of the park or apartment they are in, and the whole framing, the way the characters move, and the whole thing. It feels so close to that, and this may be one part of why I like this anime so much. But even with that, it carries so much of its own style. It feels so much comforting, I would say, so chill to actually watch. There were times in the Discord that we were just straight up silent the whole show, because it just felt right to watch it. The girls have so much chemistry together. Their dialogue is really well done. The whole thing kind of feels right. They feel like real people. It feels interesting to watch it, because, and this is the main thing that really pushes forward this anime, is that Nina is so much. It's such an interesting character to actually watch, and in a way, I would say that it is because anyone can actually relate to her in some instance, and it feels so much like she's relatable for everyone that went through puberty and is going through it, because she has that same energy, the anxiety, the idea that everything's such a drag to actually do, the idea that you want to actually go back and actually become a kid again, because everything, the adult world is such a drag, so much shit, and you can actually project yourself on her, because at some point everybody was Nina for one reason or another, and it just feels right to actually watch it. Her antics And this is the best thing about this whole anime. From the very start, she's just this little box of chaos that is really impulsive, really. I will try to get it done. I will try to get things resolved and actually do it my way and do it the way I feel. And it just feels interesting to watch her. And the counterpart to that is actually to watch how Momoka reacts to it. So much so that they butt heads so much throughout the whole anime. Even to, I think, the episode 11, or maybe even before that, I think episode 9, episode 10, when actually they are going through Momoka's struggle. Because this is the thing that, comparing again to the Idolmaster, they go through the struggle of each of the girls, more or less. I think they choose to use Lupas as like these. They tend to use her more as the voice of reason, and so she's, let's say, fully resolved on her life, and the way that she lives is alright, and I will not say perfect, but she has come to terms with her choices and her situation more than the other girls. The other girls are younger and less experienced in life and don't actually have that much of that mojo to actually live the adult life yet. Rupa, they allude to the fact that she, aside from the other girls all have problems with their family, their friends, or their past in general, and Rupa is very much someone that they hint at a much, I will not talk about it here, but they hint at a much darker past, but they choose to really say that she kind of came to terms with it because of circumstances rather than actually show it, because for the tone of the anime I think it's better that they keep it really chill. And so we go through this whole thing where each of them has the personal struggle. Subaru has a thing with her family. Tomo has the experience with her previous bandmates that didn't actually like the way that she criticized everything because they didn't actually hold the same standards. Because Tomo has, and they don't actually show much of Tomo's past, and I think that it is a symptom of the fact that this only has 13 episodes. But Tomo is hinted to be actually a prodigy when it comes to music, and so her bar for excellence, her standards for music are really different, and her way to deal with people and actually push out feedback is not the best one, and so she's more or less traumatized by it. And it comes ahead to the end that they actually learn to actually discuss about stuff in a really way nicer manner than they start off with. And Rupa doesn't actually get much development that they explain really quickly her stuff, but don't actually go into it too much because it's really dark when you actually think about it in the context. Then Subaru has her family, Tomo has her past experiences. Momoka and Nina as the main characters, they have really different and really involved arcs with this whole thing. So Momoka has the one question really that comes up, and it is the one that keeps being pushed over throughout the whole anime until they actually get to confront it, is that why did you quit the band and start a new one with people that you don't know? This is the one question that pushes her whole arc forward, and that's where I choose to end the explanation here. And Nina actually has a past that is explained throughout the anime in little drip feeds, flashbacks, and little explanations that she does, until a point that you have the whole image of what actually happened. So she could choose to go to Tokyo alone, argue with her family, basically being disowned or disowning herself, disconnecting herself from the family, and how everything comes to a head on episode 10 when they actually confront her whole arc. Tangent aside, or better yet, really quick tangent about episode 10. I think that episode 10 is perfect in all, if not most, of all the premises that you can set to it. Episode 10, I think it is a perfect episode to cap out the arc that this character Nina shows. It is emotional, it shows multiple sides of the whole thing. It has really nice ways to actually show struggle, really show reasonings from multiple characters, and it actually comes to a head because we have this development throughout the whole series of Nina, and you actually sit on, like, you sit and watch, and you can actually feel what she's feeling. And when episode 10 hits, it really becomes a cathartic moment because it's such a cute scene. The last few parts of episode 10, it is perfect in my book. That episode, it comes up as the resolution, and it just resolves everything so perfectly. It's so cute. I cried a lot watching it. Oh my god. They did a really great job with that episode in specific. Oh my. That being said, right? So the whole thing kind of works out way too nice in this one. The girls are funny. All of them are present whenever they are discussing something, and every one of them actually inputs something. It is really nice interactions. Everything, from the comedy to the hard times to the good times, it is all nice to watch. It is such a good experience. And then we need to talk about the fact that everything comes together to then make the music of this anime. And oh my god, I wish more studios had this much production value on their music. This can compare to how much effort they put in with Symphogear, and I'll give them that. Symphogear or Guilty Crown or Blood Plus. The thing is, right, so you have this band in real life, you have this band in this anime. Each of the episodes, they come out with a new song, more or less, that really encapsulates the whole feeling, not only of the episode, but what the characters are at that point. And it just builds up to be such a good experience. Not only that, but the sound staging and the sound design, the sound work, the whole thing, the whole sound stage, the whole background music, the insert songs, the way they frame the insert songs, and the way they frame the opening, the ending, the whole thing. It is such a and here is the part where please watch this with good headphones, because there is this one detail that they actually did, and I mean, this is all like things they do in editing, but it is such a small detail that I really notice when it gets done right, that I just really need to actually talk about it. Whenever they are like moving to another room, you can actually listen to their voice going with them, or how muffled it is between two separate rooms, and the whole thing, listening through the door and the whole stuff. It is really nice. Not only that, but the background music, it feels a bit what they did with Noir, where the background music actually grows out of the background and becomes the actual music that is playing at that point. And it just envelops the scenes in such a nice mood, a nice sentiment, a feeling that they want to actually pour out to the audience. It is so nice, and the songs really fit the aesthetic of the anime. The whole, oh my god, this anime is so good, man. I can't really. But and then we've talking about that, right? All the insert songs are good. Please buy the albums, help the studio. You know they actually do. Toei Animation does One Piece, Dragon Ball, Precure, and so much other stuff. But this is one project that I feel like they actually did with a side team or something like that. So I would highly urge everyone to actually show them that their work, their passion that they pour into this actually paid off, and buy the albums. They're not really that expensive, but that's not... I mean, I'm shilling for them, but I'm not really contracted by them. Oh my god, I wish I was. But the thing is, it is such a passionate project. It feels so creative, so a creative work done by actual creatives with the creative vision. And I will repeat the word creative more and more as this I keep rambling, but this is such a creative stuff. So, and here's me talking about my personal experience with this anime in mind. So when you're talking about content creation, be it on YouTube or stuff, and basically content creation in general, right? And making anime as a thing, making music as a thing, they all come back to being a creative, not as being a creative person as an adjective, but really being a creative, someone that works in creative arts. It kind of takes, and people that don't actually work or live with creatives that don't actually get it, but there's this notion that we live in a time and an era that creative freedom is undermined by the need for success and the crushing reality to the fact that you will need to actually sell out your creative integrity to actually make money. And this is a thing in our whole discussion that we can have for years and years, talking about how any artist will sell out and do something that is corporate and easy for the masses to actually absorb and not actually do their thing, or the thing that made them big. They actually throw it out in favor of making more money. And this is a thing that you can actually see in all the markets: music, YouTube, and one of the, if you are like me, one of the most salient examples of it is cinema, where nowadays we don't actually have movies to be artistic movies, or movies not to be the artistic expression they used to, but now it's all about the box office, how much it converts to streaming services, and so on and so forth. And this, again, goes back to any other market. So music, artists sells out, don't do the original stuff, and searches for something that actually sells. Anime, I think it is in a way a metacritic of the anime industry, because nowadays we see so many recycled concepts coming out every season, and whenever there is this one really out there indie idea that comes out of nowhere and has actual effort, they don't usually get that much investment and don't actually get pushed forward. So there's a whole plethora of cult classics nowadays that, if you go back in time, originally they flopped when they came out, but now they are considered cult classics because after some time people go back and see, oh no, this is actually pretty good, this is actually a masterpiece. And this is to say that only a studio with such grandiose presence like Toei would do something like this, because this is an original anime with a whole creative concept of actually getting girls to do auctions, to actually build a band, to actually do actual good music, to then make a fucking anime with creative direction like this. It is outstanding, you know. And the whole thing is, going back to the point, nowadays we see this struggle where creative freedom is undermined by profits. We see it throughout media, and it is a question that each of us, as people who absorb media, enjoy media in general, whatever it be, we all have, at the very least, when you actually look for the art of making it and so on and so forth, we all strive to find things that are actually made with creative vision rather than profit. And the struggle is, right, are you willing to sell out to actually have success? Because the one dream that all creatives have is that they can actually make a living and actually make an impact, do their own stuff with their vision untouched, and actually have people appreciate it. This whole rant I'm going on is to say that the main theme and the one struggle that the girls as a group, what they face in this anime is this struggle. And this is the thing. This is an anime about 5 creatives. The girls are all creatives in their own way. They have their own creative vision, aspirations, wishes, and their own struggles. And the whole thing, it comes down to whether they can actually have success with only their creative intent, or if they need to sell out. That's the struggle. Because if they sell out, it feels like losing. And if they don't succeed with their own vision, they will try and try again. That is the whole thing about this whole anime. And to me, to actually see this represented, it was magical. The whole thing clicked when I got it. How Nina has one vision, and then she will butt heads with Momoka in a way, and each of the girls will have their input to actually make one thing that it's their own, and how their creative mind doesn't actually let them do the whole thing. And it reflects on all of us, creating contact and actually having that mounting anxiety as you continue to actually write something or draw something, the anxiety that nobody will like it, this won't sell well, this isn't good enough, and so on and so forth. When I saw that represented, I just felt like, oh my god, this anime is way too good for it sound good, because when it comes to it, it shows so many of the struggles that normal people have, and I really touched me. I really liked it. Though the ending, I wish the ending was better, because in a meta way, and this may or may not be a spoiler if you actually watch it, but they start up with the build-up, basically the discovery of an art, the appreciation, the build-up of skill to actually make it, the making it, and then at the end there is the clash with reality, and that's when I think that this anime really hits really hard and really, really well done. The production value is outstanding. The animation, again, unbelievably good, and the whole art direction, music, and the whole thing, it just hits. And with that, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please like, please follow, please share, depending on the platform you're in. And I hope you stick around for next time. Bye.